The cheap Gemini fast Grok story you've heard is already out of date. Gemini lives inside Google's whole stack and Grok lives inside X, and for months, people have repeated the same label for each. Trust the old label on a heavy coding budget, and you could be paying double or losing focus waiting on a slow response. I checked the current pricing pages and the live benchmark numbers instead of repeating what everyone else says. 5 tests, 1 real scoreboard, and the final pick probably isn't the one you've got in your head right now. So really, test 1 is cost, and it's the dimension that wrecks a budget without anyone noticing, right up until the invoice shows up. Run a heavy coding workflow, long generations, agent loops chewing through tokens all day. Pick the wrong model here, and you can double your monthly bill before you even clock it. Google's own pricing page puts Gemini 3.1 Pro at $2 per million input tokens and $12 per million output tokens. Grok 4.5, xAI's current flagship, lands at $2 per million input and $6 per million output. That number shows up consistently across current pricing pages, even without one single official XI page to point to the way Gemini has, and it means input tokens are now tied. Output tokens, the number that moves your bill on a real workload, favor Grok by about half. That's test 1, and it goes to Grok. If that flip caught you off guard, drop a comment and tell me whether your own API bills have matched it. Plenty of people are still budgeting off the old numbers. That's 1 for Grok, 0 for Gemini. My name is Brian, and I'm in these tools 12 hours a day, so you don't have to be. Grok just won on price. Test 2 is coding. Benchmark performance, the number people screenshot when they're picking a model for real dev work. Trust an old leaderboard shot, and you might build your entire workflow around a model that's already been passed by something newer. Grok 4.5 scores 64.7% on SWE Bench Pro. Gemini 3.1 Pro doesn't have a published score on that same test. Google reports 80.6% on the older SWE Bench verified benchmark, but independent testers running that exact test land Gemini somewhere between 69.6% and 75.6%. Those are 2 different versions of the same benchmark, not one clean head-to-head, so calling this one honestly matters more than pretending there's a tidy answer. Test 2 is a tie. But a cheaper model doesn't mean much if it can't write good code. The scoreboard still reads 1 for Grok and 0 for Gemini, with that tie sitting off to the side and not moving the tally either way. The benchmarks turned out to be too murky to call, but speed is where these 2 models feel the most different in practice, and that's test 3. This is the one you feel every time you hit send. Pick the slow model for an interactive coding session, and you'll sit there watching a cursor blink while your focus drains out of the room. Artificial analysis runs these models head-to-head, and the numbers here are stark. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Gemini 3.6 Flash generates 235.4 tokens per second, while Grok 4.5 generates 58 tokens per second, and even the previous Grok 4.3 only reaches 128.5. To be fair, that's comparing Google's fastest current tier against Grok's flagship reasoning model, not a perfectly matched fight. But it's the most current head-to-head anyone's published, and Gemini still wins it by a mile. Test 3 goes to Gemini, and it goes hard. That ties the scoreboard at 1 apiece, with the earlier tie still sitting on the side and 2 tests left to decide this. Stick with me, because the last 4 tests are where this decision actually flips. Gemini just leveled the scoreboard, but a fast response doesn't help if the model can't hold on to what you fed it in the first place. Test 4 is context and output limits, meaning how much a model can read at once and how much it can hand back to you in a single response. Feed a big codebase or a long document into the wrong model and you'll hit a wall mid-task and end up chopping the whole job into pieces. Gemini 3.1 Pro holds a context window of 1 million tokens and a documented cap of 65,536 tokens per response. Grok 4.5 sits at a 500,000 token context window, half of Gemini's, though the previous generation, Grok 4.3, matched Gemini at 1 million. xAI's own documentation doesn't publish a clear, per-response output ceiling the way Google does, which is a real gap in how transparent the two companies are being. The old claim that Gemini's context window ran 7.5 times bigger than Grok's doesn't hold up anymore, and the real gap right now is closer to double. Test 4 goes to Gemini as well. That puts the scoreboard at 2 for Gemini and 1 for Grok, with that earlier tie still on the board. Gemini's pulling ahead now. Test 5 is a deployment and modality, meaning where you can use each model and what kinds of input it'll take. Need to hand a model a video file, a voice note, or plug it into tools you already use, and the wrong pick simply can't take that input at all. Gemini is natively multimodal across text, images, audio, and video, and it can process up to an hour of video in a single prompt, all backed by deep integration through Google AI Studio and Google Workspace. Grok currently takes text and image input. Voice mode is rolling out on the web, and a screen share feature is being tested in Chrome that Grok can't analyze yet. Its stronger multimodal features sit behind the $300 a month Super Grok Heavy tier, and its real home is still the X platform and the xAI developer console. Test 5 goes to Gemini 2, and it's the widest gap of the 5. But none of these numbers matter if you can't get the model to accept the input you have. That brings the final scoreboard to 3 for Gemini, 1 for Grok, and that 1 tie. Grok's one clean win is real. At the flagship tier, its output tokens cost about half what Gemini's do, and if your workload burns through output tokens all day, that math matters on its own. Gemini took the other 4 tests, one of them a tie. It won on the strength of a real speed advantage, a bigger context window with a published output ceiling, and modality and deployment reach that Grok isn't close to matching yet. Now, Grok's one clean win is real. At the flagship tier, its output tokens cost about half what Gemini's do, and if your workload burns through output tokens all day, that math matters on its own. Gemini took the other 4 tests, one of them a tie. It won on the strength of a real speed advantage, a bigger context window, with a published output ceiling, and modality and deployment reach that Grok isn't close to matching yet. If your workflow is output heavy, constant generation, request after request all day, Grok's pricing wins on pure math. If your work involves big code bases, long documents, video, or voice, or it already lives inside Google's tools, that's Gemini's lane, and it isn't close on that front. For most people watching this, Gemini is the safer default. It won 3 tests outright, tied a 4th, and lost only on a cost dimension that bites hard only at serious scale. One thing the pricing pages don't spell out is that the $6 output rate only applies to Grok's current 4.5 flagship tier. Route a call through an older SKU, the plain Grok 4 line still listed in some docs, and output tokens jump to $15 per million, more than double Gemini's rate. Nothing on the pricing page makes it obvious which one your API call defaults to. So basically, the cheap one, fast one labels everybody keeps repeating about these two are already wrong, and the fix is checking today's numbers instead of the old reputation. Next up, I'm running Gemini against ChatGPT through the same 5-test scoreboard. You'll see if that speed lead survives the other name everyone compares it to.